All right, so we got a excursion with a McNeil Racing wide body. To get these quarter panels to fit, you have to do a lot of cutting of the body, and there's no videos online, so it took me a really long. This is the second car I'm done. I'm doing it better than the first car, so I figured I'd make a video, try to explain a little bit better on what you need to do and what this involves before you buy a perfect excursion and hack it up. So this is the second one I've done. So my first one was also wrecked because I knew that the quarter panel would need to be at least somewhat played with. So I found a beautiful 7.3 excursion, a white one. I chose white specifically because I knew fiberglass is wavy, and white, you can't see waviness on white as much as you do as any other color. Well, silver's close, but long story short, the last one was hitting the rear axle. It shifted it and it buckled the back part of the quarter panel here. Over there at the dog bone, the door, I bought door for it. I changed those, the rocker over here and that little corner piece. They rust out a lot of times, but luckily we don't rust out in the South Carolina. We don't really have much rust, so usually it's not a problem for us. But that one was from Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is, I guess they salt the roads up there because it had a little rust, so it was good that we replaced it. It was still very minor, but it was nice to have replaced it. These are 22 by 13 and a half by 27 with no lift. I had to do some cutting here. As you can see, obviously this is pretty, just a start. We're still working on getting everything lined up together. What I'll do is before we finish this up, I'm gonna drive it because sometimes it has clearance on flat pavement, and then when you hit a little bit of a bend in the road and you got a full lock, then it bumps. So we need to figure that out. But this is almost full lock right here, and it doesn't touch the leaf springs because everybody was asking me, does it rub the leaves? I got lucky. These wheels, I don't even know what the offset is. I just like the way they look. On the front end, there's not a lot of fabricating to the body itself. The McNeil Racing comes with this bracket that holds the hood latch and stuff. This is the color we're going with. It's the pink. It's called Shelter Green by Ford, and it's on the new Ford Raptor. Paint code is DB or BD. I can't remember. I'm a little bit dyslexic. I was freaking messing it up. I think I'm gonna go with the factory bumper on this thing. McNeil Racing comes with the little end caps now, so it'll fit better. I went with the aftermarket style on the other one, like a Baja style bumper with circle lights. Anyway, so the front end doesn't need much manipulation, but there is a lot of finagling. Like this came in with the end piece broken off. I tried to reach out to McNeil Racing, but they never got back to me, so it's kind of shitty on their part for that, but whatever. This is fiberglass. You got to know fiberglass is, just because you're buying new fender, new hood, doesn't mean it's going to fit. You know what I mean? Like, fiberglass is a very rough thing. Like, you have to be ready to put in tons of work, because this thing is going to be wavy. I don't know how much you guys know about body work, but all that stuff, man, it just needs to be finished. I mean, it's decent, but honestly, nothing fits right. You have to make the gaps work, spacers, tension. You gotta be good at kind of that kind of stuff. And then on the hood, it's gonna be wavy. So my body guy, if you could even see right there, if you just paint over that, it's gonna look terrible. So it needs a lot of work. But my body guy probably spends like $50 on this thing to get it perfect. And then we got this front end on now. It took me a while to get it on, somewhat to make sure, sometimes on parts, like you'll have thin gap here, thin gap on the end, but big in the middle. So if I had that, then I would mark, hey, we need to build up some fiberglass here. That way it's straight aligned with the hood. Anyway, tons of work. I'm telling you guys, tons of work. And look at this. It's like an eggshell. This is BS right here. This is so like, so the fiberglass is in here, and then there's some kind of eggshell coating of some sort. So now the body guy is gonna have to fill that in with fiberglass. And that happened because I didn't have the gap big enough, and I opened the door, and I was being real careful, but it just just chipped it off. I mean, that's pathetic. That's pathetic how much there's like no structural. That means all the way down here is probably just hollow like that, but it's okay. Whatever, you know, it's at least they made the overall form pretty sweet, looking good. Inside the arc, so this, I bought this car sideswiped, so the quarter panel was all buckled up, messed up. You can still see it like right here, and then back on the upper corner right here, it was damaged. The body guy will use that nail gun and yank that stuff out. So the quarter panel, it's supposed to kind of cup over, but I noticed if you do it over, like the way that they want you to, or the way it seems, you'll never get your door gap lined up. So what I do is I'm gonna finesse this some more, use like a little Dremel bit looking thing, and then get it as flush, and then the transition, the body guy is gonna fill it up behind it with it's gonna have to sit flush, but we use what is it called, panel bond. We use panel bond, and then we have these self tappers here. This is for now just to line everything up, and then we'll use panel bond and then push it in, and then put the self tappers back in to hold it nice and snug while it's drying. And then we'll take self tappers out, and he'll fill it with fiberglass, and it'll be over with. So on this side, you see these bends like this? I'll show you what I did on the other side. So this is basically where the top of the quarter panel is going to sit. Right here is what we're going to have to cut out, and probably a little bit more. Like this whole headlight bucket's got to come out like that, like that. This whole piece has got to come out. And then over here, what I do is I made a mark about, basically it's at this edge right here, this body line. Cut the outer skin layer all the way across this edge until you get to this point. This point, man, you still want to go pretty deep, but I'd say probably about 1 inch from the end, like right here, all the way down. And once you get this, and then you'll have to drill these body welds or whatever they call them, the stamp welds, out, and then you can pull this little outer skin off. Once you have the outer skin off, you cut slats in the inner paneling, and take a hammer and beat it and roll it up. And that will seal the outer skin, the upper part of the outer skin, to the inner skin. And you can use whatever you want. You can weld it, you can just beat it up tight and use some kind of silicone or something. It doesn't have to be crazy, like perfect, but that's what like a lot of people do with like wide body kits, like race car stuff. They beat it up like that, and then you can actually seal it so there's no air. On the diesel I didn't know this, and I cut out, that section in the taillight bucket. And what happens is, if I would open the driver door when I'm driving, I would create like a vacuum under the car, and there was openings on the inner panel where the headlight was coming in, because I cut this also so I can bolt in the taillights. That's something I still haven't figured out really well. It's how to put the taillights in to this panel and use these mounts and actually be able to get in there and unscrew them. Like, it seems impossible. The other one, what I did is I cut these tabs off, and then I used just double-sided tape in a few spots, put LED taillights in it, and if they ever break, you just have to just cut the double-sided tape off. I mean, I went to plenty of car washes, plenty of miles on it. They didn't fall off. You just have to make sure it has a good good mating surface on the taillight and on this fiberglass. I know that sounds sketchy, but dude, when you're dealing with fiberglass wide body stuff, maybe I'm just new to it, but there's no videos online on how to do this. So I literally figured it out with my first excursion. I learned a lot. Now I'm building another one. The other guy that bought the guy who bought my first excursion, he's very happy with it. He lives in Colombia. He asked me if I build another one, if I would be interested in selling it to him, which I will be selling this one at some point. This is a 6.8 V10. I really wanted to try a V10. I always go with the 7.3 or the 6.0, but I'm gonna do a V10 on this one and see how I like it. For now, it's really nice. Like, I love the way it runs. I love the way it drives. It's one of the better conditioned ones I've ever bought. 170,000 miles, clean title, one owner. Yeah, it's really nice. This steering wheel, the steering wheel on here was better. I took the steering wheel off of my last build. I don't know if it's the Shelter Green with 11 to 16 front end excursion. I just sold it, and I'm gonna probably put a Lincoln Navigator steering wheel in it with a wood. I really like the feeling of wood on the top of a steering wheel. Anyway, I just put it on that truck to make it feel a little bit better. That truck was also really nice, but higher miles, 246. So I figured, man, anything I could do to make it feel nicer and more together, I'll do. And on the last one, I didn't paint the roof. And on this one, I think I'm gonna bite the bullet and paint the roof, but it's gonna be like an extra $1,000. My body guy, which is my brother, he does really good work, but you know, he pretty much charges me full price because I do make money on these and I don't want him to work for free. You know, we all gotta feed our family, so he charges me what what he would typically charge a customer, and I charge him in my auto repair business what I would charge anybody. So it works out really good. No hard feelings. No, hey, you do me favors all the time, or I do you favors all the time. Well, these are the LED taillights I went with. I think they're gonna look pretty good, especially on that green. And then, I don't know if you guys know about Miami excursion conversions. They're in Miami, and they build these barn door plaques. They're pretty rough also. You gotta work on them a lot, but we fuse them onto these barn doors or fiberglass. We fuse them onto there, and then usually, so this thing is going to be that Shelter Green, and then that plaque is going to be like gloss black. It looks really nice. But yeah, I guess this is the start of the video. Next video, I'll cut this out before I put this quarter panel on and start test fitting it. I'll show you guys where you need to cut, how you need to cut. I know around this the fuel fill housing area, you have to cut that out too, because you'll see. So I took the other quarter panel off so you guys can see. This is how I did it. I'm probably gonna cut the little lips off most of the way and then weld or use some kind of bandle bond. But yeah, I had to cut it up real high. Yeah. As you can tell, I'm not a professional, but the end result looks pretty good. I'll share a video on what it looks like when it's done. A lot of hammering. So I'll take the nail gun, yank that stuff out, get it all somewhat sealed and primed. That way if water or anything gets in there, it won't rust. And that's what it looks like. Starting on this side, headlight bucket. Basically how you have to cut it. And I already cut the arch right at the body line. I marked it lower, but that's before I knew exactly how much I needed to cut. But now I need to drill the rivets out and then slide it and then bend it up like I did on the other side. So here we go. Took the outer shell off, slotted the inner shell like that. And now you just take roll this up as much as you can. Look at that, you can see inside the car. So definitely need to hammer that up, bend it over, weld it, seal it, whatever you got to do so air doesn't travel inside the car for, you know, exhaust gases, stuff. That's how we did it. This is how we did this. That's a headlight bucket. Basically just put the quarter panel on, test fit the quarter panel on, and just cut out, take it out of there. We can convert this thing back to the stock taillights if we wanted to. Nobody wants to do that. So you cut it out. So the trick is, and nobody's making any kind of videos on this. This is why I'm sharing what I do know. Because how the heck are you going to put the bolts unless you cut this open? And I did cut this open on the other car. I really regret it because I was getting exhaust gases in there. I think I'm going to make a plate or whatever to block this off too, because you're still getting stuff up there, which I might seal that. Oh no, that's sealed. Anyway, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. So far, that's the only way I know how to do it. All right, fellas. So here we are. I got it fitted. I'm really happy with how things are fitting. Right here, I'll be able to fuse this together, and I'll show you what I did. But last time, I had to do a lot of cutting and a lot of beating, and I found a better way, so I'll show you guys how to do that. I cut it out, well, roughly, but I cut this section out right here. So my other excursion, we had the swoop going in here, and the quarter glass was touching or really close to the the quarter glass, because this one is electronically, you can open it. It's a limited, which I don't know, it might even be better just to fuse it with other quarter glasses, because these things are known to just fall off randomly. The mounting clips on the backside, the hinges, I guess just break and they just fall off. But for now, I'm just going to use the OE quarter panel glasses, not glued in, just functioning. So yeah, here we are. Tons and tons of cutting and beating to get this. I'll take the quarter panel off so you guys can see it, but see how it's all rolled up right here? Ran out of material there and beat that down right there. Yeah, I'll take this off and you guys will be able to see it, but I'll make a fiberglass extension to close this, or I have some fender liner material. I use this to make fender liners. It's very malleable, and I like to make it for back here anyway to block off all that air. But basically just put it up in here like this. Sorry for the I'm trying to hold it, but you put it up in here like this and you can seal that whole area from behind it like that, and it looks good. Well, we'll see how I do that. I ended up having to cut a whole lot of this to get this to fit, and see the pretty good line here. Obviously it's going to be a little bit more finesse. I cut off this little lip here to get it to sit in deeper and better. But yeah, there we are. I'll show you guys in a sec how it looks all cut up. So this is obviously really rough. I'm gonna weld, seal, make sure there's airtight right there. But that's how it's supposed to look, basically. Honestly, the best way I can tell you is when you put your hand behind the arch, wherever you can feel it going from up and then that way, basically you need to push it out to be flat. If there was somebody a little bit more skilled than me and they could have cut it and bent it out so it stuck out like this much, made it flat, that would have been awesome. But I'm not that good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely not a professional. I do what I can, and do the best I can. I'll get one day a week to do this shit because I got a business to run, money to make. This is a hobby. It just takes me away from my family, but it's all right. Do it for the fun of it. So what I did is I ended up cutting this pocket and then right around the fuel lid, the beveled edge. Now this guy, you can put it anywhere you want it, pull it towards yourself. And so on the last one, what I did is I didn't cut a lot of that out. I kind of just beat it down around. But whenever we fused it together, if you knew anything about bodywork, you saw that it kind of just slopes in there because of the tension. But this is going to make it able to float. So I'm really happy with that. Obviously, I'm going to clean that up, paint everything with paint. That way it doesn't rust. Over here, I had to do a lot of beading to get the beveled edge in over here. I didn't want to cut it open because, like I said, I don't want exhaust gases. And then I'll probably end up, well, we're going to be seam sealing this area, but I'll probably end up using some kind of epoxy around here. That way it also seals it. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to look, pretty roughly, but that's how it's supposed to look to fit these quarter panels on. So again, that's why I only do this conversion to cars that are needing repair anyway. It'd be a damn shame cutting up a beautiful Excursion. I don't know if you guys saw, I just bought and sold a flooded one out of Florida. Ended up being very, very nice. I was going to do the conversion on it. It was a 6-liter, beautiful truck, inside and out was just awesome. I can bring myself to do it, so I just sold it, cleaned it, made sure it looked really good, and sold it like as is, stock. You know, the guy's, I'm sure he's happy with it because it was a beautiful, beautiful vehicle. Cleanest one I've had inside and out. Yeah, there we go. Next, I'm gonna re-gear the axles, put some long tube headers on it and a tuner, and we'll see how it does. You have to clean this side up to make it look like this side. But this is basically what you need to do. Again, it's to the flats. I'm gonna cut this little extras off, weld where I can, and then seal it with some kind of sealer. I haven't decided on which one, but see, this side looks a little bit better. Like I said, I'm gonna be welding it now, cleaning it up, making sure it's airtight. There's my number if you guys have any questions or whatever. You guys can call.